Hey everybody, welcome back to the Seller Series. Today we are on video 8. If you haven't been up to date on these videos, you can start back from video 1. Just go to my YouTube channel, hit playlist, and go over Seller Series. But today we're gonna go over negotiating the offer. And this is huge. And specifically, we have received an offer or multiple offers, and we need to dive into that offer just a little bit further to uncover, peel that onion back, figure out where the buyer's coming from, and negotiate the best deal possible on your home. To understand the initial offer at first, there's a few key points that you need to understand. And the first being is the first offer most likely won't be the last from that specific buyer. And what I mean by that is when a buyer places an offer, they already understand in their mind that that might not be the last offer and a counter offer might be in place. And when we do receive that offer, we need to take emotion off the table. I understand you and your family have lived at this house for a long time, you've built memories, but this is a business transaction. For you to get the best deal possible, we don't want to throw emotion out there. We don't want to say more than what needs to be said, but we need to make sure that we come from a place of strategy, not emotion, so we can negotiate the best deal possible. And once we review the offer, we need to understand it's so much more than just the initial purchase price. We need to figure out a few key things, right? Buyer contingencies, right? What expectations the buyer has throughout the process before they take possession of the home. How much are they asking for in closing costs? When are they asking for it to close itself, right? Traditional loans are typically 30 days. Do they have a pushback to 45 days? Is it a cash offer and they want the house within 10? We need to paint the entire picture to figure out what this offer is and if it's gonna be best for you. And if it's not, what we need to do to change it so we can leverage, negotiate back and forth with the buyer in order to get the deal that you're looking for. But what is the role of a counter offer? Because when the buyer makes that initial offer and after we review it, we need to find the gap between what the buyer expects and what we, as selling the home, is willing to accept on the property. And that really is the part of the negotiation that's the most important. So what is the role of a counter offer? It's the difference between what the buyer's asking for and what you're willing to accept, and finding the middle ground between the two so it's a win-win situation. But we really need to peel everything back to understand, if I make this counter offer, is the buyer gonna back out? Or was the buyer just trying to throw a number out there to see what they could get because the house has sat on the market for too long? There's such a big picture that we need to paint, but it's really the two between and finding that middle ground. And this really comes down to market conditions. Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a neutral market? Every day when I wake up, I check the latest market statistics to make sure that I'm on the forefront. So when it comes time to negotiate on your property, we can get you the best deal possible. And next, we need clear and respectful communication, and we gotta put our listening ears on. We can't jump the gun with emotion, and the best way to negotiate is to fully understand the buyer, their needs, and their wants. And the greatest negotiation tactic that I've ever come across is fully asking great questions. And when you ask great questions in depth, you end up getting great answers. So when we get that offer, or we get some kind of negotiation piece or ask or want from the other realtor, we need to ask simple questions like, can you explain this a little bit further? Is this what you're asking for? And literally just break down the contract itself. And you're gonna stir up, right, a good conversation piece, and that's gonna give me the ability, right, I'm gonna do this on your behalf, to uncover what is actually being said. Because say your house is $400,000 and we get an offer at $385,000, that person might have put in $15,000 under, but one thing we might not have understood is the fact that they wanted to make some repairs themselves and they weren't asking for it. And say there was something that's gonna require $15,000, you know, parts, labor, whatever it could be, to be able to get the house fixed, and we didn't know that, and we got super emotional and we just try to shut them down from the beginning. What we could do is find that middle ground and say, hey, if we repaired or fixed this prior to you moving in, would you bump the price to X? We don't want to be emotional. We don't want to go out there and be disrespectful, and we don't want to jump back quickly. This is a time to slow down, take a deep breath, figure out the best way to move forward, and then make a well-educated decision based on the whole picture. Next, I want to dive into legal considerations real quick, because when it comes to contracts are binding and we need to make sure we understand them fully. There is a bunch of different things within the purchase and sale agreement. Just ask me. I will love to walk you step by step of what a purchase and sale agreement is. If you want that video, just let me know. It's what I do with every single seller. We hop on Zoom and we actually go through the purchase and sale agreement together. You know, it can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes depending on how in-depth the offer is. And something to be in consideration about is the special stipulations box, which is going to be like on like page 3 or 4 of the contract. And that's gonna be additional, right, buyer contingencies on the home itself. And it's something really, really important. You need to understand that if there is anything in that box, we need to pump the brakes, we need to take a step back, and we really need to dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure that everything is in place. Because if we agree to a contract and we don't do that, there are gonna be legal complications. They might be able to pull out of the deal and get their earnest money back, and we wasted a bunch of time off market, and that is not what I want to happen. Let me be able to help you, and this is gonna be a smooth process. And to be able to get that smooth process all comes with a win-win situation. I know as a seller, you most likely wanna just annihilate the buyer and get the best deal possible for you. However, we need to make it feel like a win-win situation where all parties are equally winning. And that process makes it smooth because when the buyer feels like they're winning, everything's gonna be smooth with paperwork, with getting documents signed, with them being happy, right? Even let's say the inspection appraisal process too. If we are going to war with a buyer and we are trying to meet in the middle somehow, some way to make sure that they feel like they've won a little bit as well, they are going to attack us with everything that they have. I want this, I want this, I want this fixed. The appraisal said this, I want this changed. And it is going to be a bumpy roller coaster. So at the end of the day, right, being respectful and making it seem like a win-win situation, even though I am on your team getting you the absolute best deal possible, we need to figure out where that is so not only you win, but the buyer feels like they won as well, so it does end up being a smooth transaction. And the last thing I want to cover is multiple offers. In this situation, it will feel absolutely amazing as a seller, knowing that there's a lot of high demand on your property. And I'm gonna help navigate you through that process, because just because you got multiple offers doesn't mean that all offers are created equal. Cash is different from FHAs, different from VAs, different from conventionals, different from USDAs, different from, the list goes on. And it's my job to navigate you on what the best deal possible is for you and your family. Let's say, for example, you get a full price offer at $400,000 with a VA home loan, or we get a full cash offer at $390,000. The $390,000 closes in 10 days. They waive the appraisal, and all they want to do is a quick 3-day due diligence period with an inspection, right? But the VA is 30-day close, and they're going to get the inspection and appraisal. What would happen if the appraisal comes in low? We're going to have to renegotiate, for example. And then if it does come in low for some reason, you're gonna take that money out of your check at closing, and it's a longer process. Something could come up on the inspection report that has to be done due to the VA, and we'll have to get it repaired. Long story short, I'm on your side to help navigate you on what offers best, and I'm always gonna be here for you. And understanding that negotiations is an art and a science, it's my duty as your realtor to make sure that I walk you through every step of the way to be able to accomplish the best deal possible and to put as much money in your pocket, net, bottom line at the closing table. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. I'll catch you on the next one.